Edwards here. Thank you so much for joining me here. As you can see, again, I'm not in my normal location. I am actually in my old childhood bedroom. I am still home visiting my parents in the US. This is my last day. I'm heading out to the airport pretty much straight after this. But I did want to come on because I am trying to be super consistent and come on and join you live every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So here I am. Yeah, so excuse my wet hair, and I'm just getting ready to spend the full day traveling. Anyways, today I wanted to share one of the biggest questions that I get asked regularly is how do you convince the owners to work with you? And I've talked about this a couple of other times, but I wanted to share a quick tip about that today. So if you haven't seen it, I've got a webinar coming up, a free kind of live training course next week, where I'm going to be sharing kind of 5 simple ways to convince the owners to work with you. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll share a link later. But you should check that out, and we'll go into loads and loads of detail on convincing owners and working with owners and just how to build up that relationship. But today I wanted to share probably like the main key point that all of those things are going to bring together, and that is, having the confidence. So it's working on your confidence and your presentation skills. And that can take time. It might not be, the first time you go out and talk to a property owner, you're like super confident and ready to go and you can negotiate any deal anywhere. I know I certainly wasn't. I was absolutely terrified, and I made a mess of most of my initial viewings, and it was crazy, but I learned a lot. And that's what I want to be able to share with you. So having that confidence is what reassures a lot of property owners. So most of them, if they've called you based on some of your advertising, or if you've gotten in front of them via an agent or through, contacting them from maybe a Gumtree ad, no matter how you got in front of them, they are expecting you to be knowledgeable. They're expecting you to kind of know at least the same amount as them, probably more. And they're expecting you to project that. When they think of us, well, a lot of them don't want you to be a letting agent because maybe they've had one or they've had a bad experience with one in the past, or they're calling you because they probably don't want to work with a letting agent, but they're comparing you to a letting agent. And when you think of letting agents, they've generally, they're dressed nice. They've got kind of a professional demeanor. They've got maybe a script that they kind of go through, or if it's not kind of completely scripted out, they've practiced this. They've trained on how to sell their services to people, and that is essentially what you're doing. You're selling your services to this landlord. So you've got to be able to build that relationship with them and show them that you're professional, that you're credible, and that they can trust you. And in order to do that, you need to be confident that you can do all of those things yourself. So and again, initially, you're probably not going to feel super, super confident. So, it might take some time, and it's going to take some practice, and you might have to have a little bit of fake it till you make it kind of thing. Just in regards to that confidence. But the more you get out there and do it, the more confident that you're going to be. And you can be confident because you are going to know more than a lot of property owners do. A lot of property owners are not kind of professionally trained landlords. Most, I've seen some surveys, and I don't remember kind of exactly where I've seen them, but more than 50% of landlords own only one property. They are not professional landlords. Most of those are accidental landlords where they've inherited this property, or they moved out of their family home and not been able to sell it, so they've had to rent it, something like that. So they're not out there like you are, kind of taking training courses and learning how to improve yourself and how to manage a property and reduce voids and make it look as good as possible so that you can have the best tenants possible. Most of them wouldn't even know where to advertise for tenants, how much they should be charging for their rooms, how much bills and things like that cost. So you already know loads more than them, even if you've never managed a property before, just because you've gone through the exercise of kind of improving yourself and learning more about it. So that right there should give you confidence that you can speak to them at kind of on the same level as they are. Now, you don't want to be all, I'm smarter than you, I know more than you about this, you don't know anything, because nobody likes to be talked to like that. So, and I have seen quite a few letting agents talk to property owners like that, and it doesn't work all, it might work for a little while, but they're eventually going to get fed up. So it's about showing how you can work with them and how you can, use your knowledge to improve their life by, getting them consistent rent, by making sure their property is well managed, by, adding value to their property. How are you going to improve their life? And you can. So you've just got to have that confidence that you know how to do this. You know things that they don't know. You can, and you don't have to share every single thing with them, but you need to give them that sense of confidence in you, that you know what you're talking about. So it's kind of sharing little tidbits and, sharing what you've learned so that they can see that, they can rely on you with their property. So having that confidence is a huge, huge, huge thing. And again, it might not happen overnight and on your first viewing. It might take a few viewings to kind of build up that confidence and see where you're at and how you're going. Now, again, I've got this webinar coming up next week. I've got 2 sessions of it on the 19th and 20th of June. So highly recommend, if you want to learn more about how to convince owners to work with you, how to build your confidence, and how to give yourself that confidence by improving your knowledge and increasing your knowledge, then come and join me next week. I will post the link in the comments here, and I'll try to post it just in the main message of this video once we finish. But we're going to cover, 5 simple ways to convince the property owner to work with you. And all of those ways are going to work towards improving your confidence and increasing your confidence, so that when you're speaking to a landlord, you know what you're talking about, you're comfortable with what you're saying, and that kind of knowledge and that comfort is what's going to really help you get confidence in what you're doing and how to present yourself. And we're going to have loads and loads of tips for you on how to do that. So if you have questions, so this is a great one. So if you've got questions about how to convince the owner, I would love you to post them here. Send me a message with your questions so that I can make sure I'm covering absolutely everything possible in the webinar. I'm just finalizing my slides. That's what I'm going to be doing on the flight home today. So I'll be finalizing my slides. So pop your questions in there. Get any questions that you've got on how to convince the owners, how to work with them, what you can do to improve your confidence, anything like that. Pop the questions here in this thread. Send me a message on Facebook with them, and I will make sure I answer absolutely everything in the webinar next week. We'll also have a live Q&A session at the end of that webinar, so you should really, really definitely look at joining us. So I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and next time I see you, I will be back in the UK. So have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.